In an exceptionally rare and dramatic intervention, King Charles has broken his silence, and what he has said is sending shockwaves through the political corridors of Westminster. This is not a routine royal comment nor a polite expression of concern. Instead, it is a sharp and unmistakable warning, not aimed at foreign adversaries, but directed squarely at Keir Starmer himself. Yes, the United Kingdom's head of state is profoundly uneasy. Not because of instability overseas, but due to the quiet and creeping re-entry of the United Kingdom into the orbit of Brussels, a course being charted by the Labour Party with a polished smile and carefully scripted language. Behind the carefully staged, managed charm of the forthcoming UK-EU summit lies something deeply troubling. And now even the Crown is beginning to take notice. The 19th of May marked a historic occasion, though not one that will be looked back upon with pride. This will be the first UK-EU summit since Brexit, and Starmer hopes that it will symbolise a reset in relations. But let us be clear, this is no reset. It is a rollback, a betrayal, a slow momentum surrender of the democratic decision made by the British people in 2016. And the King is fully aware of this. While Starmer and Ursula von der Leyen prepare their champagne toasts in London, Buckingham Palace is reportedly bracing itself for the political and public backlash. Because this meeting is not about building bridges, it is about trading away sovereignty for status. It is about turning back the clock on Brexit under the illusion of pragmatic cooperation.
We'll make sure that we get them. Yeah. And the other thing that we got back, the only thing it seemed to me we got back was we can stand in shorter EQs at passport control when we're travelling around Europe. We can join the EU queues. Frankly, I've very much enjoyed not being in the EU queues. I rather like not being in them, so I don't want that concession. But even if you do, that's pretty feeble, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm housebound, so the EQ things are absolutely no use to me. You know, bugger that. I mean, the thing as well, you know, I mean, it's just this guy. He's not even been in a year. I mean, he's sold so much of our country out. You know, he's annoyed pretty much every sector outside of the public sector. You know, at this point, honestly, Kev, I really don't take...
Starmer is already laying the groundwork for regulatory alignment with EU food standards, a move that in plain English means Brussels sets the rules and Britain follows them. He is also entertaining the prospect of giving the European Court of Justice a role in settling British disputes, the very court we voted to escape. This is not cautious diplomacy, it is capitulation. And it gets worse. A youth mobility scheme, once dismissed as unrealistic, is now quietly being greenlit. It is being sold as a benign exchange programme. But make no mistake, this is free movement through the back door. It is the same policy that drove millions to vote Leave, now repackaged and reintroduced under a different name. Temporary migration, youth exchange, a smokescreen for open borders. Labour believes the public will not notice that voters are too exhausted, too distracted, too demoralised to care. King Charles. Sources close to the palace say the monarch is increasingly uncomfortable with the pace and secrecy of Starmer's manoeuvrings. He has long remained above party politics, but this, in his eyes, is no longer merely political. It is constitutional. It is existential. The Crown has always acted as a stabilising force, a moral compass when politics veer off course. And now it seems the King believes we are indeed off course. Far off. Starmer is not negotiating, he is surrendering. He wants to contribute British defence funds to EU military projects, using taxpayers' money to support Brussels' ambitions. He is willing to trade UK intellectual property for vague promises of influence, all to regain a seat at a table that Britain chose through a national vote to leave. What kind of leader does this? A leader who never accepted Brexit to begin with. Starmer backed a second referendum. He advocated for a customs union. He voted for and again to undermine Brexit's implementation. And now he sees his opportunity for revenge, hidden behind diplomatic handshakes and summit photo ops. But he may be miscalculating. The people are starting to wake up. Look no further than the recent local elections. Labour faced a serious backlash from Reform UK, the only major party still defending Brexit without compromise. Nigel Farage is back in the headlines, and he is not holding back. While Starmer stands with EU elites, Farage is rallying the betrayed. The message is now unmistakably clear. The fight for Britain's sovereignty is far from over. But Keir Starmer, he is too busy plotting how to quietly pull Britain back into the European Union's orbit through their rearmament schemes, youth migration plans, regulatory alignment deals, and ultimately complete dependence. Meanwhile, the EU sees its moment. French diplomats are already circling, demanding renewed fishing rights in British waters. Brussels wants access to our markets, our seas, our laws, and yes, even our soldiers. They see a Labour government as an open door, and they are standing ready to walk through it. They are licking their lips at the prospect of British defence contributions, British obedience to EU rules, and British silence in the face of Brussels' growing overreach. And what do we get in return? Vague promises, hollow sound bites, a symbolic seat at the table where Britain's voice will be politely ignored. Perhaps a photo opportunity for the BBC, a round of applause from EU officials, and little else. No meaningful influence, no real power, just more compromise dressed up as cooperation. It is no wonder King Charles has stepped in, because this is not diplomacy, it is a dismantling. And Starmer's arrogance is staggering. Let's look forward, not back, he says, as if the largest democratic mandate in British history, the 2016 Brexit vote, can simply be swept under the rug. But we have not forgotten. We clearly remember Project Fear and the constant barrage of warnings intended to dissuade the British public from voting for Brexit. We recall how the political elites and establishment figures sought every opportunity to sabotage Brexit, undermining the democratic will expressed in the 2016 referendum.
Not interested in a deal that puts the UK in a position of being a rule taker. Our rules must be made in Westminster according to the national interest of the UK as a whole.
We were told repeatedly that Brexit would never happen and that we were naive, reckless and uninformed. And yet, despite the sustained resistance from powerful interests, the British people stood firm. Now, after years of outright opposition to the people's decision, here Starmer is attempting to quietly reverse that mandate. One diplomatic handshake at a time, with polished smiles and carefully worded speeches designed to mask the reality of what is unfolding. The British public has not forgotten these attempts to undermine their democratic choice, and neither has the Crown. When King Charles recently hosted senior government ministers at Buckingham Palace, his remarks were carefully measured yet unmistakably pointed. Speaking about the importance of respecting national sovereignty and honouring the voice of the people, the monarch sent a thinly veiled but unmistakable message aimed directly at Starmer's increasingly close overture towards the European Union. Such a public, albeit subtle, indication of royal concern is unprecedented in modern times. Never before has a monarch openly signalled discomfort with the direction of the government's foreign policy in this way. This is a constitutional alarm bell ringing loud and clear, a warning shot fired from above the political fray. Yet despite this solemn message, there is every indication that the Labour leadership will simply disregard it. Indeed, Starmer has already pledged to Brussels far more than even his predecessors dared hope for. Throughout a single weekend, he is preparing to cede more ground to the European Union than Boris Johnson managed in 5 years of government. Fishing waters, trade regulations, border controls. Each of these vital pillars of British sovereignty is quietly being put up for negotiation behind closed doors, piece by piece. When Reform UK dares to raise concerns and sound the alarm, Labour dismisses them decisively as populists. When the King voices his apprehension, it is brushed off as mere ceremonial noise with no political significance. And when ordinary British citizens express their objections, they are insulted as Little Englanders or worse. But the truth remains undeniable. The real extremists are those within the political establishment who are willing to burn the Brexit mandate to appease Brussels. The British people have endured enough, and the time for silence is over. King Charles is watching closely. Reform UK is gaining momentum, the public mood is shifting, and Keir Starmer is playing a dangerous game with the future of Britain. The recently concluded summit on May 19th was not simply a diplomatic event to reset relations. It was a moment of reckoning, a test of national resolve. Will the British people stand idly by as Starmer delivers their country back into the embrace of Brussels? Or will they rise, speak out, and fight to preserve the independence they courageously won in 2016? This is about far more than trade policy alone. It is about identity, sovereignty, and freedom. And if Labour believes it can quietly unravel Brexit while the media flashes cameras and the press looks approvingly, they are sorely mistaken. The betrayal will not go unnoticed. The people will remember. History will record those who stood firm and those who surrendered everything. If you enjoyed this political firestorm, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating political discussion.